Hi, and welcome to video number 3 of building my teardrop. So today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting some insulation, marking and then cutting some insulation to fill those lightning holes that I cut in the last video. I'm also going to be doing something kind of scary. I'm going to be cutting some more parts off this middle panel. I'm going to explain why I do that, but these are going to be, it's going to be important that I do it correctly, or else going to have problems down the road. So let's go get to it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the cutouts for my roof and for my ceiling out of the middle section here, and I'm going to show you how I do that. So here's the profile. This is the middle, that MDO plywood that I cut out. You can see I've made some marks here. And with these marks right here, you can see right here, and they're at about 12-inch intervals. These represent the cross bracing that will hold the two sides up. These will be made of 1x2 lumber that will be laminated together. So I've cut out a block here. This is just a piece of 1x2, and I've made marks where I want to put these. And these are about 12 inches apart or so. This line right here, this is the roof line, or the ceiling line from the inside. So there will be 1/8-inch plywood, something like this, that will sit on the inside. And then the roof spars will sit on top of that, and then the roof plywood will sit on the outside. So what I have to do is I have to measure in this distance plus the thickness of the plywood, and then make a cut. Now what I'll do is I'll cut this with a router using a bit that looks like this. So this is another spiral upcut bit, and this is a 1/8-inch bit. And this bit will only cut 1/2 of an inch deep. So what I will do is I'm going to set this for 1/8 an inch at a time until I get up to 1/2 an inch. Then I'll flip this piece over and I'll cut from the other side, and hopefully that's going to go well. This is a pretty critical cut, so hopefully I'm going to get everything right. The way I do this is I'm going to put this in the router, and you can see I've added a little thing onto my base plate. And what this does is this will ride along the edge of the material here, and it should give me the offset that I need, which is 1 5/8. So hopefully I've got that set up right. I'm going to go ahead and put the bit into the router and get it all adjusted, and then I'll make the cuts. I've made my adjustments and I'm ready to cut, so here we go. Make sure everything's locked down tight. I'll go ahead and start it. Next thing I'll do is I'm ready for my next pass, and the next pass I will increase the depth by 1/8 of an inch. Just open up my bale. Go ahead and go down 2 turns. It should give me 1/8 of an inch, and I'm ready to make my next pass. Go down another 1/8 of an inch. Double check my bit depth. Should be 3/8. Okay, I've got that cut in now. The groove that I just cut is about 1/2 inch deep, and so now I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. One of the things I just realized is I don't have any markings on the back side, so I don't know where to stop. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera, but I'm going to mark where those are, transfer those markings to this side, and then make my cut. I've reset the bit to 1/8 of an inch. Now I'm going to go ahead and make 2 passes here, and it should come apart. Well, it won't completely come apart because I haven't cut the ends off, but it should completely go through the plywood. Set it slightly deeper. Okay, it's been cut through. Now I'll just cut off the edges, remove the part, and mark it so I know which side it goes on, because these will be put back in once I start building up the roof and the ceiling system. What I'm going to do is I'll cut this little piece out here with a coping saw. That'll give me, hopefully that'll just give me a little bit of bearing surface. This is where the bottom of the frame is, so that'll give me bearing surface for this particular piece. It'll put a little notch in there, so hopefully that'll work. And then here's the other end. And there's the curve. So there's the curve that I just cut out. What I'll do is then cut this into segments, and then it'll be ready for using as the roof supports once I get it. When I start putting this thing together, it'll come clear as to why I'm doing all this. this is the second side that I'm going to be cutting, and I'm going to show you how I cut out for this. I cut out this bottom section. This is where the floor system. I'll build the floor system, and it's an inch and a half thick. And so what I have to do is I have to cut this out. Now I don't want to cut it all the way through, because I'm going to be handling these a fair amount, and these are going to be mounting on inner and outer walls. So I want to leave a little bit down here just to give it some strength. So so when I put the outer wall on, which is only 1/4 inch plywood, and I'm setting it up, setting it aside to work on the other one or something like that, I don't break that plywood off. So I'm going to leave some of this on here. So in order to do that, what I've done is I've taken my circular saw. In my circular saw, I put a guard or a guide on it, and I've set it so that the blade is going to cut just inside this line, so it's at an inch and a half true right there. And so I will do plunge cuts and then go down the line here and then pull it out and then do another plunge cut and leave some little connecting pieces, which I'll cut out with a handsaw later. And this is quite loud, so I'm going to get my hearing protection. So you have to be pretty careful when you do plunge cuts. Make sure that you know what you're doing, make sure that your fingers are out of the way, and go really slow and be real aware that the saw could kick back. So this is how we'll do it. I'll leave a little piece of wood right there. I'll leave one right there, and then I'm going to cut to the end. Now that I've completed that cut, I'm going to go ahead and use my router and cut out the front of this the same way I cut out the other side.